Fizz, what do you think of these moves, and do you think they are setting themselves up for something even bigger?
I do. I really like the moves they made. I think that they're making the main thing to still want to expose lines, and they're trying to create space for those two guys. And Seth Curry is one of the best shooters in the NBA, hands down. There's no other way around it. I think getting Al Horford to another team and taking two bigs off the court for Ben Simmons is really going to open up the floor for him. You know, because I think you could see it when Ben Simmons was playing just with Al Horford or just with Embiid, he looked great. But it was tough on him when he had both guys out there on the floor with him. So they're really opening up the court right now and really trying to make this guy's talent shine.
Well, Sixer fans, it looks like you guys finally have your savior. For years, I've seen Sixer fans disappointed time in and time out, especially after the Sam Hinkie era. One thing about Sixer fans, they're gonna let you know their pain on Twitter. They're always in some type of pain, and I don't blame them. Recently, over the years, they had what looked to be on paper very good teams, but still, year after year, they keep coming up short. I think you can't blame them in 2019 because they ran into Cyborg, Kawhi, and the Raptors, but honestly, besides that, the Sixers have really put together some underwhelming playoff runs, and given how bad last year was for them, you would have thought that, you know, this was probably the end of the Simmons and Embiid era. That whole team just looked down bad. That Al Horford contract had him in cap space hell, the team lacked shooting, and in a tough Eastern Conference, it looked like their golden opportunity to really win a championship has passed. And before all of this happened, I thought Philly was going to trade at least one of Embiid or Ben Simmons. But long and behold, the Sixers were finally handed a lifeline by the Houston Rockets. To the surprise, they parted ways with Daryl Morey, and since then, the Sixers picked him up and turned around what looked to be a murky future. Ever since he took over and Elton Brands has basically took a step back, the Sixers have improved majorly. Not to mention, Doc Rivers replaced Brett Brown also, which might be good for them, especially, you know, getting the best out of Tobias Harris. You know, I've talked about it recently, but I think Daryl Morey is a good GM. Say what you want about the system he did with the Rockets, but he helped them be a staple playoff team year in and year out. Looking at his catalog, he was able to rob Sam Presti of all people for James Harden, and that three-point centric offense he built was very good and almost took down the greatest team ever in Golden State. There's mistakes along the road that led to his downfall, like the Capella contract and that Westbrook trade maybe, but I still think he's a good GM compared to the rest of the league. So when I see him now as president of basketball operations for Philly, I'm not really surprised that he's turning around this roster. I love Elton Brands, but only as a basketball player. Honestly, he should low-key be thanking Daryl Morey right now, because Morey was really able to undo all the mess that he created. All these moves that he made in the past few years ended up hurting the team, and more importantly, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Not keeping Jimmy Butler and extending Tobias Harris, who isn't bad by any means, but maybe he isn't worth that much money. Not getting shooters around Ben Simmons and Embiid, and the Al Horford contract, that's just straight up head scratching. All of these decisions piled up and ultimately affected him last season. It's not like Sixer fans are just blaming him for no reason. He played a huge role in them underperforming last season. But ever since Morey stepped in, he's basically was able to fix all the bad moves. To get Simmons and Embiid more spacing, they addressed the shooting problem head on. They acquired Seth Curry and Danny Green, two proven shooters. They had a good draft also, getting Tyrese Maxey and Isaiah Joe, guys who are really considered to be steals at that point. Then Morey cleared out maybe the biggest problem that could have haunted the Sixers for a very long time. That goddamn Al Horford contract. 4 years and $109 million for a guy that, one, doesn't feel with Embiid, and two, Father Time has caught up to. Thank God they was able to get rid of that contract, because that could have ruined their future and any chances of them keeping Embiid or Ben Simmons. But now with this improved roster, I'm excited to see what the Sixers can do. From what it looks like, Morey understands that you need spacing around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to really get the best out of them. Now, do Ben Simmons need a jumper to fully reach his potential? Yes, and I would love to see that, but for the time being, he could still be a great player without shooting. So for the meantime, they need to put shooters around him. Now, overall, looking to next season, can I say that they're a championship team? At the moment, I'll have to wait and see, but one thing I can tell you is they're going to look 8 trillion times better than last year's team. So at the very least, Sixer fans, I do expect a fun team. And at the moment, I do expect Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to really thrive next year. All thanks to the savior, Daryl Morey himself. Now, if you're new around these parts, don't forget to like and sub to Tings. Bazoom University is calling my name. So until next time, it is your boy 22 Khalil. And as they always say in Japan, Jamatane, peace.